and you will find your collection there, correct?
Correct.
And they're not expensive either. They're very minimally charged. I mean, you went very minimal on the prices of your books. So I do encourage everybody to read them because they really are dynamic reading. It is a little gut wrenching as well. So be prepared, I think just prepare yourself emotionally for when you're reading it. Yeah, I would. Wouldn't you, Marsha?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I would absolutely, because I think it's very heavy duty, but it's what goes on in life. And you've had the courage to write about it. Not very many people do. They go to their grave with it, or they live a very dysfunctional, drug addicted, drinking addicted life because of, the childhood that they suffered. And I give you so much props for coming out with it. I really do, Miss Marsha. It's just a phenomenal read. I really encourage everybody to pick up. I'm not really a sci-fi person, so I don't know if Precedence would be for me. Like, I really enjoy reading your story. It's so wonderful. Now, when are you coming out with chapter 3?
That's going to be about in 2 months. I have a lot of free time right now, so that book will come out soon. And I just wanted to touch on something.
Absolutely.
For parents that want to know more about the child abuse statistic, they really should go online and they really should read about this, because it, in the United States, has one of the worst records among industrialized nations. And we lose about an average of 5 children every day to child abuse and neglect.
So United States is like the leader, really, in child abuse?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Not anywhere in Europe where there aren't any strict rules and regulations or, specific child laws. No. Wow.
No.
That's mind-blowing.
States is the worst. And it's not only the way that people are raised, it has a lot to do with our society. Sarah Cliff on Books.com, she came out with an article on January 18th, and it goes more into detail about the healthcare system, how it affects people, and 70% of our children have a greater chance of dying, and it's amazing, because all these struggles, they contribute and lead to anger and stress, and this is just an ongoing cycle.
Yeah, it is. It is an ongoing cycle, one that has to be broken, and it takes somebody like you to break that cycle. Like, it's just phenomenal. I a lot of times, honestly, I cannot read, really. I don't indulge in any kind of child abuse articles, stories, or books, because I'm very sensitive to it. And it really does affect me and affects my day and my life. And I get very upset when I read them. So I try not to. I educate myself so I know what I'm speaking about, which is why I'm a child advocate, all the way back to, I think, when I was a teenager, really. So it's just, I don't know. I can't even think of the words. It just makes me, I wish there was more that we could do to educate people. Like, you hear these stories, like your story is just so unbelievable. And then again, you hear about, people living in, nice areas that lock their kids in cages and don't feed them or give them food or water because they urinated in their bed. I don't know. It's just, I don't know really what the answer is. I don't know. Honestly, my true opinion, I'm so sorry. Forgive me for saying it, but my answer, it's going to be, I know I'm going to hear shit for this, but is take that parent out, and kind of put them to sleep forever. I don't believe that they're, that you can, what's the word? You can, not rehab. You can't, what's the word, Marsha? I'm trying to think.
Well, you can't change them unless they want to change.
Right.
It's useless.
Because you have to know the mentality of that person. Who takes a human being, beats them into subconsciousness, or locks them up with chains and doesn't give them food or water because they urinated their bed? I honestly believe, I don't want to, because guns are a very, toppy, sensitive subject now, but put them to sleep. One shot, put them to sleep for the rest of their life so they don't have that opportunity to hurt another child again. I don't believe they can be rehabilitated. That's the word. Ding, 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 ding. Rehabilitated. I don't believe it. I'm sorry. I just don't believe it. I don't believe anybody really can. Anybody that hurts children can be rehabilitated, honestly. So if that means putting down half the population, you got my vote. Because I really have no patience or tolerance for people that harm an innocent child. I can't do it. Anyway, but
I believe a lot of these parents, what they need to do when they see that their children are having problems, if they're working, they get 2 weeks vacation a year. Take some of those days off and go to school with that child and sit down. Spend the entire day with them in school and find out what's going on. Because that is where a lot of the abuse starts. It's not only in the home; it starts in the schools too.
Bullying is a huge problem. People, children, but children will be children. I think now we're trying to get such a handle on bullying that you have to tell your teacher. I mean, it happened to my nephew in New York. And, he got on the phone and told me about what he was dealing with. And really, children were calling him such horrible, horrible names. And he did tell the teacher, but they really, I think, maybe they're just dealing with so much that the teacher really didn't do anything. And finally, my niece had to go back down and call a meeting with the superintendent of the whole schools and went down and took care of it. But really, you have to push that envelope and know what your child's doing and how they're feeling. If they're not eating or they don't want to go to school or, there are signs and symptoms of a child that's being bothered, whether it's verbally or physically or spiritually or any which manner,
Yeah, the parents, they have to get up in the morning. And when they look in that mirror, they really need to see and look in that mirror what their child is seeing every morning.
Now,
because the schools are so different today.
Yeah. I mean, look at what we're dealing with now. It's like not even a topic that I even want to bring up, but I'm just saying we're living in such a different society. I mean, I always said for a very long time that we live in a very selfish, loveless society. I think that's why I don't teach anymore either. I was exposed to a lot of very entitled parents that didn't work, and didn't have to work, but yet left their kids at a, before care, after care kind of situation at 6 o'clock in the morning because they had yoga or Botox or, they had a facial appointment. And it kind of was a little disgusting, to say the least. And they left the kid there till 6:37 when it was time to pick him up and, give him a bath and throw him in bed. And, the whole day starts all over again. And I really feel that, I don't know, I gave everything to my children. And Marsha, do you have children too? You do.
Oh, yes, I do. I have 2 sons, 2 wonderful sons, and a whole lot of grandchildren.
I know your grandchildren because I see them on Facebook all the time. But I'm sure you've given them, a wonderful life because of the life you lived. Yes, am I correct?
That's correct. I when I was 15 and I walked out that front door, I swore at that moment that I would never raise my children the way our parents parented us. And I gave my boys a good life. In fact, for a while when I was working and they started running the streets a little bit, they started getting into some trouble. I quit my job. I quit and I stayed home with my kids to make sure that they were not going to get involved in gangs.
Right. Let me ask you something. It might be a very simple question, but I think it's going to be a very complex one as well. Did you love your parents?
No.
No. Yeah. I can dig that.
To.
Yeah.
I wanted to, but it was just, it wasn't there. The distance, there was so much distance.
Were they hugging? Could they hug and kiss you? Did they hug and kiss you goodnight or?
Oh, not at all. There was no I love you, no hugs, no kisses. You were treated as an object, not a person.
I just can't imagine that. I really can't. I'm grateful I can't imagine it. But I'm also grateful, on the other hand, not that you endured that, but that you rose above all that, because it's very rare that children do. It's very rare. They're so damaged mentally, emotionally, every aspect of their bodies and mind are so diseased, they can't get past it. But you have, Miss Marsha, you really have. I'm very, very proud of you. And I know we know each other now for a while, and I'm grateful that I have you as a friend, and you're just really such a wonderful person. I know you said you're going to deal with chapter 3, and is that going to be the end of this, though? Don't you think there's so much more you can write on?
Oh, yes. There's going to be more chapters.
Okay.
The reason I'm doing it in chapters is because, of the content, and because, I spend a lot of time with my grandchildren, and then we have this is only a top layer, of what I'm writing. I'm not, and when I go to write, I think about, well, gosh, should I write about this? No, this is too bad. I better not put this in the book. But once I get all these chapters done, which there's going to be quite a few, I'm going to put it all together in one book.
Yeah. I really wish you would, and that way everybody can read at their own leisure. It's a very difficult book to read. I mean, I do suggest you prepare yourself and, read it. I know you kind of just talked about the generalizations and what happened. You really didn't go to heart on what really truly happened. I can't even fathom that, really, to tell you the truth. I can't. But I wish in a way that, you could have had more closure on everything. Or at that point, were you just ready to say, screw this, I'm out of here?
Yeah. I didn't have any close feelings really to my siblings. And when I was 15, I just left.
Where did you go? Where did you go when you were 15?
I just went around to friends' houses, and I'd stay here and I'd stay there. And then one of my older sisters, she had an apartment at that time, and I stayed with her, for a little bit. And then later on is when I hooked up. I found I went to this Indonesian self-defense class, and I met somebody there. And then I got hooked up with this person. I had 2 children. And it goes, the chapter 2 goes more into that, into the relationship. Okay. And then, I did okay. I did okay. I felt like going through life for me with everything that happened, it was kind of like a daze, and it was also like an opening, like a slow-going therapy. The more I learned about life and the more I learned about people, opened up my mind to see a lot of things. Well, this was wrong and this is right.
Right. Now, needless to say, I'm sure you've been in years and years of therapy, correct? I mean, to try to make, or no, maybe not. I don't know.
Well, I think I did really good by being around people, and I had a
writing
really
about it. Writing about it
that
must
time,
be very therapeutic. Yeah, and writing about it must be very therapeutic.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It really is.
Well, tell everybody again where they can get your books, please, because I want everybody to make sure that they can pick these books up. One of them is at Amazon. I know you mentioned Barnes and Noble, and of course, Miss Marsha. Also, you'll put it on my radio page, my Facebook radio page, and that way people can just go to my Facebook radio page and click on a link or whatever. Put the Amazon link there so people can just go there. I'm telling you, everybody, you really need to read this brave woman's story. It's phenomenal. It's shocking. It's loving. And how she's come about this is just almost like a miracle, Miss Marsha, I want to say.
Yeah, I really believe it's a God-given gift.
And that do you believe in God? I wanted to ask you that last time.
Absolutely, I do. Wow. I believe in God because I've had too many experiences throughout life to, with relating to God that He exists. He's real.
I believe. I just wanted to know if you believe, because sometimes you would imagine as a child, you would say like, oh my God, how could you do this to me? Or how can this happen? But I'm so I'm enamored with you, Miss Marsha. I am. I really care for you a lot as a person, as a friend, and as an author. You're just dynamic.